Here we go.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
How are y'all? Can y'all hear and see me okay?
Yep, I love your sweater.
Okay. Got it. So we're all ready to go. I know our guests are excited to join us as well. Welcome to
Absolutely.
Sips and Trips. We are definitely happy to have you guys. I'm Tania with Travels by Tania.
And I'm Jennifer with Red Lips and Passports.
And tonight's episode is sponsored by Melograno. And I look forward to sharing you guys my experiences of tasting all of the different, well, I'm not going to say all because I don't want y'all to have to roll me about this episode, but trying the different types tonight. So we're happy to have you guys join us. Give us just a second to get our guests on. And I hope you're looking forward to tonight's episode of Sips and Trips. And who knows, because it's Christmas season, you may even have the opportunity to win some prizes. If it's your first time joining us, drop a hand wave in the comments because we want to see all of our newbies. And if you're returning, drop an airplane in the comments so we can see what our audience looks like tonight. Ready to add our guest host?
Yes, I am, but I'm just going to let you guys know I am very under the weather. So if my voice starts to crack, I'm sipping hot tea tonight. I am not sipping Melograno or anything else because I'm trying to get myself back to 100% before the holiday.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get our guests on. All right, I have invited each of them into the room, and this is really exciting. This is the first time that we're actually going to have, hi!
Hello,
We're going to have multiple guests on tonight, so this will be really exciting.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. It's so good to see your face.
I know.
Can you hear me good?
A little, you're a little low, but I think it might be my volume.
Let me see. It also could be because I have earphones, and let me put double earphones.
You're a tad bit low on my end too, so I don't know if it's the
Let's try double earphones, and then if not, then I'll take them off.
Okay.
All right, how are we feeling now?
It's a better.
Justin!
Hey, Justin.
Okay.
What's up, y'all? What's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Hey!
Yeah, we can hear you okay as well.
Okay, so it looks like Marquita is having a little bit of trouble. Let me try again with her.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone again. If you're joining us, this is our last episode of Sips and Trips for the 2023 year. This year flew by fast, huh?
So fast.
Too fast.
Like, I don't even understand what happened. Like, how is it already December and we just celebrated 2022 Christmas and the holiday season? I don't know what this has been. So while we're waiting for our final guests to join us, do you two want to introduce yourselves and your platforms to those of us that are on?
Sure. I'll go first. My name is Laindia Santos. I am part of, Flying for Class on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And I talk about culturally immersive travel as well as sustainable and responsible travel. So always looking for ways to make an impact and to figure out ways that I am immersing in the culture and the places that I visit.
Perfect. Sure. We're glad to have you back.
Ooh, what's going on? It's good meeting you. I don't think I ever got to meet you, but it sounds like a dope platform. But what's going on, y'all? My name is Destin. I'm Next Stop Success across all platforms. Typically, what I talk about on like TikTok or Instagram is anything to do with like being a PhD student and what it means to travel as a PhD student, what it means to, like you said, be immersed in somebody else's culture, be a visitor there, but also have a good time and learn a lot through the space. So I'm excited to be back. I got my drink that y'all sent. I'm excited.
Oh, perfect. So,
I'm excited. Yeah, I got it for sure. Thank y'all.
No problem. We've been worried because y'all know the post office and everyone else has been tripping with deliveries. I've had so many delayed deliveries. I have stuff that has been in transit for a really long time. And so we've already shared that I am drinking Melograno. I'm starting off with an orange blossom martini. And so I'll let you guys know how I feel about it, but Melograno is a newer brand. I definitely recommend following them. They have a lot of flavors. Like I have pina colada here. I have a pomegranate cosmopolitan, and I have a melon margarita. I also was in a cucumber mojito. I'm probably not going to, the goal is not to get through all of these, but y'all know we get on here and start kicking and stuff. So we'll see. But those are my tips for tonight. What are you two drinking?
So I appreciate you guys. I love old fashioned. So I appreciate my little box that I got, which is like a little whiskey box. So I got a glass. I got some whiskey cube things. You put them in the freezer, some tongs, and I have the glass here. So I put some blackberries in here.
Okay.
I was rushing today, so I was gonna make like a blackberry smash, but in a getaway because I only have honey. So I was just gonna try and use honey, but the whiskey that I'm drinking is Bullet Bourbon because I've had this bottle in the fridge forever and it needs to go. So trying to drink it down. But I usually like Woodford.
Okay. Noted. Destin?
Right. I got me a margarita mix. So I mixed up the margarita mix that you all got me into a small little cup. And I also too got a handy dandy bottle of Patron when I finish that. Because I already know I'm going to finish mine. So I'm like, when we get to us, probably want to take a shot. Yeah, you know how I do. I told you that.
The last time we had Destin on, y'all, he was drinking straight tequila. Like just straight.
No.
There was no chaser. There was no mixer. I think it's people that can drink straight tequila are a special kind of people. I don't know if that's special good or special bad, but
I drank tequila Saturday. Saturday, I was done. It was no coming back after I drank tequila. I'm never gonna.
That's
can't
not
do
my
it.
favorite. Like,
can't do it.
and tequila, when I drink it, I swear I'll be down for about a week.
It
does not. I don't recover well. And so Jennifer,
it builds character.
Yeah, for sure, and puts hair on your chest, which I don't know if that's what we want as women. So, all right, you guys. So
we're having some technical difficulties trying to get Marquita on. Instagram is not allowing her to be added, and it's not allowing me to accept her invite. Accept her trying to join the live, and it's not showing her that I'm trying to invite her. So I don't know if you're able to do it from your end.
Let me see. One moment. I don't think so. It's not. I think because you started, it's not allowing me to.
But it keeps saying that she's not able to join. I'm talking to her via text too to see if she's even getting the invite.
Trying. We'll definitely keep trying to add. Sometimes with these platforms, we can try to prepare for everything, but these are not our platforms, and unfortunately, we do have technical difficulties. So we'll keep trying to add Marquita. Marquita, in the meantime, definitely hop in our chat. You guys, we want you to interact during this episode. We have so many things to discuss. We have a lot of real authentic travelers on here. Everybody that has been on the Sips and Trips episode. And I'm looking forward to hearing how everybody's year has been in travel and just hearing about what everyone's plans are for next year. Let's get started with our first question of the night. It's, what has been one of your most memorable travel experiences this year? Whoever wants to go first, definitely sound off.
Sheesh.
I keep going first. Do you want to go first or you want to think about it?
You got a lot of memorable travel experiences this year. I've been like,
India was going through it this year with her travel.
I know,
baby.
I was trying, but I want to say, I think the most memorable one, if you haven't seen my reel, so earlier this year, I went on Ancestry.com, and I knew that my family came from Puerto Rico and Cape Verde. But I really wanted to dive into Cape Verde, and I bought the ticket last year because it was a super good deal. I looked up on Ancestry, found my great-great-grandfather's picture, and I got to go to Cape Verde this year, which was absolutely incredible. So I actually got to go to the island that he's from, which was listed on his paperwork from when he came to the United States by boat. And yeah, it said Fogo, and it's a really tiny island on the west coast of Africa. And if you don't know, Cabo Verde is made up of 10 islands, and they speak Creole or Portuguese. They were conquered by the Portuguese or colonized by the Portuguese, and it was just an incredible experience to actually go. It's usually so expensive. Back in the day, it was like thousands of dollars, and I found a flight from Boston one way for $300 last year, and I snagged it. There was no way I wasn't going, and it was just absolutely incredible. Got to stay in like a crater the volcanic crater on the island. There's a whole community there. The eruption happened in 2014, completely took over the entire community, covered in lava, and they have been rebuilding their lives and just rebuilding their homes. And it was just so cool to actually be there and connect with them, and now I have like another family, you know, so I can't wait to like go back. And I would love to bring people, like maybe a group, or even bring my family. I always said I wanted to bring my mom, and she couldn't go this time. But at least I got to bring my husband, and it was just really, really memorable.
I love that. I actually have a close friend that's from Boston, but her family is from Cape Verde, and so they go like once a year.
Yeah.
Her parents still have a house there, and so that's been one of our plans to go with her because her family spends a part of their time there. So I'm glad to hear about these experiences, especially staying in a crater. That sounds amazing and interesting.
Yeah.
How about you, Justin?
That's a beautiful story too, though. I think anything to do with ancestry, I'm always like, dang, that's beautiful to hear about. But mine is a little bit more, I think all my trips that are like my favorite or what I enjoy the most is when there's like something like risky involved. So I bought the trip to go to Guatemala as like a solo trip. I was done with the semester. I was like, look, I'm about to drop out if I don't leave this country soon. So I bought this trip to Guatemala, and then turns out they have like what the media describes as like political uprisings. And like the people are protesting. So, you know, Americans are like, don't go, like reschedule your trip. And I'm like, I'm not rescheduling. Like I'm trying to see what's going on. So I go there. And what's happening is something is going on with like their current president. He's involved in some BS. So the people are actually like peacefully protesting. They're just blocking the roadways. So I'm trying to get from like Guatemala City to like cross over all the roadways and to Antigua. And I literally had to like taxi jump from like point A to point B, like walking with luggage. These people are protesting. I'm walking through to get to the next spot because they don't let people drive through the roadways. They block down like all the interstates to get to all the most important places. But traveling around the country when that is going on is complex. And I was like, dang, I'm glad I did it. But also too, it's very beautiful to see people like, it's very beautiful to see people like standing together. It was a fun time, I think. So ultimately, I enjoyed it. I think that it was a dope trip. The folks in Guatemala just dope as hell. So it was fun. That's my place. Also too, I got to do the hike up Mount Acatenango, which is like a 2-day hike in Guatemala.
You did
it was
great.
nuts. Oh my God.
Like,
You like
the
it?
camera.
Right. Tell us about that entire process.
All right. So real quick, Instagram only allows you to go live with 4 people at one time. So I have Marquita here via FaceTime on my laptop. She can hear us.
I can hear y'all.
Yeah, she can hear us. So we'll be able to talk to her there. We will be switching to a different platform in 2024. So we will not run into this issue again.
Sounds good. So Destin, finish telling us about like how'd you sign up for it? How much did it cost?
Yeah.
Like, where'd you sleep? All that kind of stuff. So I can know. Yeah. I'm probably not gonna want to do it, but I want to hear about it.
No,
I would recommend
that one's hard.
Oh,
that one is, you have to be fit. We did Bocan Pacaya and we stayed the night. But the one you're talking about, they say like prepare for it, and I want to do it, but I'm scared. Like that's rough.
Yeah, I mean I did it. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm black. I did the hike in some Jordans. And I'm thinking like
not some Jordans.
Oh
some
my
days,
God.
my babies, yeah. I'm thinking it's about to be sweet.
No.
So I'm like, I got my book bag on. I booked it through this through WhatsApp. I just trust these folks. I'm like, it is what it is. I go, and within the first 5 minutes of that hike, I said, okay,
you knew
I am in trouble.
Messed up.
I said, I'm in trouble. So what I did was I looked at this girl's list on TikTok, all the things you need to pack. Everybody else is like packing light. I'm like, no, I need my toothbrush. I need this. I got a 30-pound book bag on me. You're carrying a bag the entire way. So 5 minutes within, I'm like, I've been to the gym for like a year consistently, and I was like, wow, I'm being humbled right now. And I'm already like, it's completely uphill. There's no like straightaway. It's all uphill. And I'm not gonna lie, it was probably like a 5-hour consistent hike uphill. And of course they let us stop, but it was exhausting. I think that was the hardest thing I've done. I was thinking like, well, I didn't really tell nobody I was doing this hike. So if I stopped right now, nobody would know. But ultimately though, I ended up making it up. Very glad I did. The people I was with are so dope. Like I plan on seeing them in different countries. But we ended up staying like in like a camping site overnight. We got to see like I haven't posted this on TikTok yet. I've been on this like hiatus. But we got to see like literally the mountain erupting. Like we got to see it like the clouds. Like we just over, like you can literally see, like you feel like you're on top of the world. And then we all went to sleep. We had drinks together. We ate, and then that morning at like 5 a.m. we woke up to see the sunrise. We had to do like another like hour hike up. That wasn't that bad because I didn't have my luggage on me. But we ended up going there. We got to the top of the mountain. It was just beautiful. It's one of those things where it's like very hard work, and it's like very rewarding work too. Because it's like in retrospect, I'm like, damn, I'm so glad I did that. But in that moment, I was like, wow, I cannot believe I'm doing this. Like, what am I doing up here? But ultimately, no, I didn't cry. But I will say though, that next day, I felt it in every single muscle on my body, in every bone. Oh, I was aching, and I'm consistently in the gym, and I'm like, wow, I was humbled by this. But the good thing is I went to Lake Achitan, and I got to relax. I got to go sit on like by the lake, get in the water. It was vibey, so it worked out. But I ain't gonna lie, my cars was pulled, and I was like, damn, I was really humbled out here. And the thing is, though, these people are experienced hikers. So you got people on here like looking at you, they're hands on the hip, waiting while I'm coming up the hill. I said, man, if y'all don't go somewhere, they waiting on me to walk up the hill. I'm like, don't wait on me. But,
leave me.
Yeah. But there's some experienced hikers, and they're like, no, this is like a difficult one, but they're okay. They're running up the hill. I don't get it. Or run up the mountain. I don't get it. But 10 out of 10 experience. I would recommend it.
Good. That's definitely interesting. I know when I went to Tanzania, there were a lot of people that were out on my safari that had just finished climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. And I know they talked about how they had trained and kind of went through these different things and how everybody didn't make it and how it was a lifetime experience. And they talked about how when they got to the top, there was a guy that was like in his 90s, 80s or 90s. And that was his lifelong dream to make it to the top and how they literally had to carry him that last leg. But he was able to get there and see. And I think that his partner or a friend that he was with that was around the same age didn't make it. And so like how it was a lot of tears and just, those are beautiful experiences. Let us see Marquita so we can hear about one of her memorable travel experiences this year. Hey, Marquita.
Hey, Marquita.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you.
We can.
Awesome. So my experience, my most memorable, I went to Jordan and I went canyoning in what was it called? Adi Malib, I believe it's called. Not knowing what it was. So I kind of was like you where I was very ill prepared where all I knew that when I went to Jordan is that I wanted to do Petra because that was my last world wonder. So I was like, that's the only thing I really care about. Petra, cool. And then I want to go to the Dead Sea, and I asked my driver to schedule something else for me. He sent me pictures of it. I was like, oh, that's really pretty cool. Let's do it. And in the pictures, you just see people with water, like to their ankles, maybe their calves. So you're like, okay, cool. Just bring a little water bag, some little tissue, some good love. No. It is straight canyoning up rocks. Like big old boulders where the water is like gushing in. It's like you're diving more or less in the water. And I'm short, so there's plenty of areas where I have to like either like pull myself on a rope and or swim. Like, cause you ain't walking, sis. You gonna do one or the other. So in that element, I was trying to climb up one of the boulders. I had my phone in a waterproof bag, but I smashed, like the waterfall was coming, and I smashed my knee and my face into the boulder and ripped my waterproof bag open. And my phone was down for like the rest of the week and a half that I was in Jordan and Europe. So that is memorable because traveling abroad without any communication is very interesting, especially in Jordan. So the experience itself was great, but that losing my phone made an extra element to it.
Marquita, that's how you know you're a real traveler, though. If you can get around without your phone in this world, you can do anything.
For sure.
Anything.
I was hustling. Sure. Google to the rescue because I did have my computer, but I had my work computer, and my work computer does not give you access to personal email, so I could not email people. But I was able to do Google Meet with it, and then eventually I couldn't even get in my work email because you have to do a second authentication. So I stopped having access to that as well. So it's real tricky for a while. I was like, God, you didn't bring me to Jordan to die. I know you.
I know better than this.
But you
died. But it worked out. I'm here to tell the story.
You know, speaking of no phones, I remember I was reading this probably Wikipedia or something about when Martin Luther King had did like this European tour. And I was like, dang, he ain't had no cell phone, no Google Maps or nothing, Jesus. How the heck did he survive this trip? Because you know, for us, we rely heavily on our
For
phones
sure.
when we're traveling for like Google Lens and like all
When
the
I
different apps that we
Mm-hmm.
use. And it's like, it's just mind boggling to me how people are really out here exploring the world on a wing and a prayer and no phone. You
when
know
I
what I
first
mean?
started when I first started traveling, I did not have a phone. I was 14 years
Oh,
old
yes.
in Costa
I remember
Rica.
you telling us
I
that
did
That's
not have a
story.
wild.
phone.
That's
We used to
wild.
use calling cards, and I used to go to internet cafes to use the internet, and you pay like for a certain amount of time. But I did not have a phone
And
like when I first started traveling.
She.
I know in October I went to St. Martin and my phone crashed on the trip. I don't know if it overheated. I don't know if it said, I'm sick of you. This is it. I don't know what happened. And I had to navigate the airport with no phone. Try to, having to actually go to the counter and get a boarding pass, having to keep up with the time and you don't have a phone. Like it was all these different things on the island. They did not have any place I could take my phone to go get it fixed. My phone was
That's
down for
wild.
what, Jennifer? About 3 days I was without a
Oh, yeah.
phone.
You were out of commission for a minute.
Yeah, and I couldn't do the second party verifications. Like you don't realize how dependent you are on your phone. And I had the
Exactly.
brilliant idea. Wasn't so brilliant.
Exactly.
Before I left the all-inclusive resort to go to the airport, I knew my phone wasn't working, but I don't think I had fully accepted my phone wasn't working. And I decided to go to the pool bar because I had an afternoon flight and I was going to drink some mimosas. It didn't work out well. It did not. It did. Imagine being at the airport, you tipsy, and then you realizing you don't have nothing. Like you can't keep track of time. You don't have anything on your phone. Like you are having to rely on like old school. Go to the TV screen, figure out where your flight is. Then when you get to the next airport, figure out where the next gate is because you have absolutely nothing. St. Martin was everything, but that was tough. That was tough.
I remember being in Morocco. I think Morocco was like my fourth or fifth country, right? And by this point, let me swing my hair. I thought that I was a travel expert. And so I had my little international travel plan with Verizon, thinking I'm doing something. And then we land in Casablanca and it says, welcome to Casablanca. Your international travel plan does not work here. And it said, welcome to Morocco. Your international travel plan does not work here. And I did not realize that those plans don't work in every single country. I'm thinking I'm out here straight. But that was my first country where English was not spoken. And so I'm like, I don't know how to speak French and I can't even download Google Translate or anything like that. So I ended up having to get a Moroccan SIM card. And everybody on the trip was like, I don't trust it, I don't trust it, I don't trust it. But I was the only one on the trip that had cell service and everybody was relying on me.
Don't
Okay.
ask to use my phone. No, I can't transfer
No, because y'all
nothing.
said y'all ain't
Yeah.
trust it. And every
So
time I ran out of data, I would get the driver, hey, drop me somewhere where I can get some more of this
some more than
Moroccan data.
minutes.
Everybody was like, can you screenshot me how to say, I don't speak French. I mean, I was like, because y'all wasn't trusting it when I was out here getting my SIM card.
So speaking of just, I know that we're all pretty much experienced travelers at this point, but think about from when you first started traveling until now. How do you feel like you've evolved as a traveler since you first started taking long haul trips or just trips in general? How do we feel like we've evolved as travelers?
Sheesh. I remember my first like real trip, I feel like to expose me to the world was Jamaica. My best friend went to Jamaica. I knew someone who I went to school with, and they were like graduated. They went back home to Jamaica. So me and my homie was like, "Hey, let's go to Jamaica," and we ended up staying with their family spot. But I think that trip taught me like the difference between like traveling and like vacationing. My mama took us to the Bahamas and the Virgin Islands and Hawaii growing up, but we was always on the beach, and that was pretty much the extent of the vacation. But I think Jamaica exposed to me like this idea of like, nah, this ain't gonna be perfect. You're gonna get flat tires, you know what I'm saying? This is gonna happen, phone's gonna break, all these things gonna happen. And I think that when it first started happening, like life was happening on vacation, I originally was like, dang, like this can't happen, like this is sloppy, we gotta be careful. But I think now I'm like, if something goes wrong, I'm always rolling with the punches at this point. So I'm like, oh, that's this adds to the story. Like, this is way more interesting. Like, of course we get a flat tire. This story would be boring without the flat tire. Like, I couldn't tell this same story if my phone was working the whole time. I mean, I can get on video, right? So I think like I would look at my younger self would probably be surprised how naturally like I expect things to not go perfect, but also to be surprised by how there's beauty in the lack of perfection when it comes down to traveling. Like that's what it's all about. I don't want to go on no trip where everything goes as planned because then I don't know if that's really a fun story to tell. So I don't know. I guess I embrace the woes that come with traveling and all the mishaps because it just makes the story more rewarding and more fun to tell for me.
Well said.
Yeah, I like that. I think all of us probably could agree with that, to be
For
honest.
sure.
Yeah.
And I know for me, the first long haul trip that I took, there were so many things happen that literally I feel like were set up to break me. Like they really could have been the reason why I never traveled again. My first long haul trip was, and I've talked about this before, I just jumped out there. You know, I talked to my friends, and I don't know, my friends just let me talk them into anything. When it comes to travel, they will let me, I could tell them we are going anywhere, and they are just going to go. They don't do any research. They just show up with me. So if I'm not prepared, that means nobody's prepared. And it could all go to hell real fast. Oh, but my first trip out the country long haul was London, Paris, Venice, Florence, Rome, Athens, Mykonos, Crete, and Santorini. So we were gone for 18 days. First trip, I had never been further than like the Caribbean. Like that was it. And so the three of us went. I had a friend who went and he swore he had all this travel experience because his family was from Lebanon. He was mixed with Lebanese. He hadn't been to Lebanon since he was like 8. So he's talking about all these things. He was
Scam.
sir. We are in at this point, I was getting ready to turn 30. None of that even applies. Like that travel experience is probably 20 plus years old. Everything from lost luggage to flights being delayed and canceled, like everything you can think of, to one of the people getting heat stroke in Venice. Like there was so much going wrong. Like thinking that you're smart, you know, that's the whole thing. As Americans and just as people that have a little bit of education, we think that we're smart and can figure out everything. Y'all know what broke me down? Those European washers and dryers that are 2-in-1. I cannot figure out. I can never get those. And it's like these experiences, like Destin says, like you really realize how resilient you are. Mm-hmm. You really learn what patience truly looks like.
Yep.
And it also in so many ways makes you grateful because for me, it's like how dare I complain about something I'm going through in Paris.
Right. Oh, that's it right there.
For real. That's the realest thing you ever said. Hell yeah.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you one thing. Another thing about traveling, having difficulties, it make you feel good knowing you got a couple of dollars in the bank. Because I'm telling you, I done made some expensive mistakes. And when I met Tania, we got stuck in DR during Hurricane Fiona, right? And it was pretty, it ended up being a very expensive trip because I couldn't get a flight out on my original airline. So I had to buy a whole new ticket. We had to pay for additional nights to stay at the resort that we were at. And I remember I was sitting there and I said, man, a couple of years ago, I would have had to be a Dominican citizen because it wasn't no money. It wasn't no extra money to do nothing. Okay. It wasn't, I was traveling on a wing and a prayer. It wasn't no travel insurance. My credit score was a 2. And I had $5 in the bank when I booked the trip in the first place.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly with all of that. So let's roll into our next question. Has there been a destination that surprised you? Just whether it was because of culture, whether it was because of people, was it maybe because it was overrated and when you got there, there was no reason for you to be there? Has there been a destination you've encountered that surprised you for any type of reason?
This year?
It doesn't have to be this year. I can share mine, one that surprised me. So I know you guys remember during COVID, it's kind of where we really saw an influx in travel influencers like popping their stuff. Like those of us that were traveling during COVID, we were winning. Like I was always on planes, whatever. But the destination that I think surprised me the most was me going to Zanzibar. I feel like I've been to some beautiful places. I feel like I've seen some beautiful water. I feel like I've done some amazing snorkeling to a point to where when the Safari Blue Tour is one of the most popular excursions in Zanzibar, and the water was cute or whatever. I'm like, okay, but I don't have to snorkel. Like I don't see water this blue. That was some of the best snorkeling I've ever done in my life. And then to know in that water that there's nothing really dangerous. There are octopus at the very bottom, but if you ain't bothering them, you don't have no business being down that deep. So if that's what you encountered, that is on you and whatever you had going on that put you in an octopus business. But I was so surprised at like just how beautiful of an island it was. And also during COVID, one of the reasons why so many people went is because COVID did not touch the island at all. Like they can count on one hand how many COVID deaths there were. And so experiencing a place like that before it became such a tourist attraction, the way it is now, was one of the most authentic experiences I've had thus far. And it was amazing. And I was surprised.
I'm glad to hear you bring up Zanzibar because I heard you bring up, I plan on going there next year for my birthday. So I'm going to tap in with you later. But
it's amazing.
That's exactly what I love to hear. Okay. We'll talk.
Amazing. One of my favorite things, y'all, and this is, so you know how you have these guilty pleasures. Like one of my favorite guilty pleasures is homemade French fries. Like my mama used to cut up potatoes and make homemade French fries growing up. That's my favorite. We would like go to the club in Zanzibar, like, and we'll be partying, and you could order homemade French fries. So you there with your,
so you there, simplest things though, that'd be the best.
Dude, like those homemade French fries was everything. The ketchup wasn't hidden, but the homemade French fries were.
I can't really think of a destination that surprised me because I feel like every place I've been has had some kind of a thing that I was like, oh, wow. But I will tell you one thing that surprised me when I've gone to various countries is how different food tastes over, everywhere. Because I remember this guy telling me, like, the ketchup in such and such is so good. And I was like, you sound stupid because ketchup is ketchup.
No.
But then I had ketchup in Panama. That ketchup was so daggone good. I was like, yo. But also how different McDonald's and Burger King and everything tastes so much different. Even though I try not to eat at places like that when I'm overseas because I want to like experience like the culture of where I am. But sometimes you just can't help it.
Yeah.
But in Brazil, I had KFC, and in Australia, I had Burger King. Well, they call it Hungry Jack, but I had Burger King. They had spaghetti at the McDonald's. I mean, it was just it's just always been, it's always interesting to me how different the food is overseas. And I remember when I went to Amsterdam, I went downstairs and I was like, oh, can I just have a bottle of orange juice? And he was like, a bottle? Like, what do you mean? And I was like, can I have a bottle of orange juice? And he was like, oh, no. We fresh squeeze. I can put it in a bottle for you if you like. And I was like, fresh squeeze?
How much is that for you to put in a bottle? I ain't paying $20 for no orange juice.
So first of all, the glass of the fresh squeeze was like €2 or something like that. And here, if you get a glass of fresh squeeze orange juice somewhere, they're going to charge you like $8,
Yep.
And so food, the difference between American food and food overseas just amazes me, especially like in places where like the US dollar is stronger, like in South Africa or in Mexico, and you get all of this food. Like I remember, and we went to Isla Hobaj, and it was like 11 of us had like rented a little tent. And the lady came out there with this big old huge fish, big old bowl of rice, big old salad, bottle of wine, and the whole meal cost us like $40. And it was enough for all 11 of us to eat. And then some, And so it's like that's one thing that always surprises me when I travel.
And speaking of KFC, the KFC in Jamaica is supposed to be one of the best KFCs you'll ever eat.
Trinidad.
No way.
Trinidad.
Jamaica through it through.
What makes that KFC special? Is it that they're using a different kind of seasoning? And what makes
Trinidad KFC? Like my husband literally has people that bring Trinidad KFC when they visit. Like he will let it sit in that box and bring it here. like Trinidad KFC is next level. I'm sorry.
I ain't never had Trinidad KFC, but
Next
I'm gonna
level.
vouch for Jamaican KFC. When they tell you that food is so good, I would literally call my mama up and slap her. That's how good that food is. Like, I got to. And keep in mind, I would never put my mouth on KFC in America, but
Absolutely not.
here, I mean, in Jamaica, every time I go, I'm like, I need it 3 times before I leave. It busts that bad. I'm not even like exaggerating. It's so good. The barbecue chicken for the win. I'm telling y'all, it is so good. I can't even like play them. It's bomb. For real, for real.
See, that's good to know. I've only heard about it. I've never tried it. So now I know to
It's
put it
so
on my
good.
list.
It's good. It's legit good.
See?
Okay, so speaking of food, which country had the worst food?
Brazil.
What?
Please, I will be okay. Never
eating
in Brazil.
You will not do that. You will not
And
do
I've
that
been to
to
Europe.
Brazil.
I've been to Europe. Brazil? God, no.
Mine was Spain. Mine is Spain. Spain had like horrible. The paella was horrible. I couldn't stand Spain food. But I was in Barcelona and I couldn't stand it.
I'm really bothered, and I feel like we should just kick Destin off and just put Marquita on the
believe that about Brazil. I don't.
You're not going to do that to our Brazil. Because let me tell you something. That place that Isabella took us to.
Ever in my life in Brazil.
That place that Isabella took us to with the rice and beans.
Brazil
will have the same place that we had to get ourselves.
Yes.
No way. Brazil will have you eating rice and beans, French fries, and spaghetti, and calling that a full meal. What is going on here?
We ain't had no French fries, and we didn't have spaghetti. You ain't go to the right Brazil. You didn't go to the right Brazil.
I've been to Italy, which has bad food, but I eat Italy food over Brazilian food any day. Italian food over Brazilian food any day.
You must have went to McDonald's. I don't know. You did not go to the right Brazil. You must have went to like Brazil. You must have went to like Brazil, California, or something. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Rio de Janeiro. I'll be glad if I never eat there again. I'm packing it to go. I'm packing
we
food
ain't
from home
eat not one bad thing the whole trip. You could not have went to Brazil, the country. You went to Brazil in America.
Right. Brazil, Texas. You could tell
Don't let
them. Brazil, Texas. You had to.
Y'all sponsored by Brazil. That's what it is. Y'all sponsored by Brazil. There's no way y'all believe this.
But this episode is sponsored by Melograno.
Period.
Okay, Melograno.
But I'm telling you, from the time we got there, that little steakhouse they took us to, I don't know what's the name of that steakhouse we went to? Bussin'.
It was basically like a
It was like Fogo de Chão.
Right, but it was better. It was like their version of it, but it was so much better than that. And I know for me, the place I feel like I've had the worst food was London and Paris. The food was terrible in London and Paris. It was absolutely terrible. There was nothing good. And I really could have just went to a farmer's market or HEB or something and got my own
It was
stuff.
Amsterdam for me.
The food
really?
Oh, yes. It was, and I tried so many different things. The best 2 things that I had in Amsterdam was, it was the French fries from Burger King. That was the best thing I had in Amsterdam.
I felt like Amsterdam have so many cultures, so it was just like so many international food and stuff.
And I didn't taste it. We tried several different ones. Now we did go to a Turkish. We tried a Turkish place and that was really good. I'm sorry. And we went to the Burger King and that was good. But we went to a seafood spot. Being from the DMV, we kind of hard on people with seafood, so it ain't the same.
Yeah.
And then we went to a Argentinian restaurant. I went to another like a little Mexican breakfast spot. Like I tried several different things and nothing tickled my fancy outside of them French fries and the Turkish food.
I had Thai food in Amsterdam. It was pretty good.
I went to a food hall in Amsterdam. I think it was the Holland. I'm gonna find a name and post it in my story. But I went to a food hall and they had so many different options and my food was good.
Like, and Marquita said really Indonesian food.
Yeah, I hear there's really good Indonesian food in Amsterdam. We didn't get to try, but next time for sure.
So we have some fun trivia questions that we're going to throw in, and we're getting ready for our first one. Now, this trivia question is for our guest host. We are going to have some for our audience members in just a second. But our first question is, y'all ready?
No.
You can do it in India. I believe in you.
You got this. When someone invites you on a group trip, what 3-word question do you ask first?
Who's all coming?
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Who all
Where are we going?
Who all going? Got it. And since that one went so fast, let's do a holiday one.
Ooh, I like that.
Let's do a holiday one. I'm trying to think which holiday one. Okay, this is a good one. In a Black household, how does the song Silent Night start?
But what?
No.
3
Now the
words?
preacher was
What 3
saying
words?
No. What 3 words? Okay. Thank you, Dustin.
Oh, you gotta let me build up. I got
Okay. He got
you. Temptations only.
in my mind. So audience, stay ready because your questions are coming up
That's
in just a
funny.
second. Let's see. Another question that we have. When you travel, you know, a lot of times when we travel, we like to enjoy some of our favorite cocktails, like we're doing now. That's one of the things that makes travel, I think, special. Just sitting down, having your favorite drinks with some of your favorite people, creating memories together. What is one of your favorite cocktails that you've experienced while on vacation?
The best cocktail. Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Capri Suns.
Tell them what that is,
So,
because I was.
I'm joking. So when we went to Brazil, nobody could say caipirinha, so we kept calling it Capri
Capri
Suns.
Suns. Oh my god.
But we were tearing it up.
We were
See,
tearing them caipirinhas up.
I'm locked in. See, I was doing the Brazil slander, but let's be clear. That's the best like drink I've had abroad. Like that actually put me on my ass, and that rarely happens. But I was put on my ass for like a day or two after going. We on the same page. So shout
With
out to
them
Brazil for that.
Capri Suns, boy.
Listen, they get you exactly where you want to go. I'm telling
Exactly.
Fun fact, they're really popular in Cabo Verde as well. So when you go to Cape
Wow.
Verde,
Good to know.
you can cook.
Wait a
Miami Vice
minute.
is a
Somebody
good
said
case.
Marquita, how do you
Miami Vice
say
in
that?
Jamaica.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Chinchata.
Chinchata is really good. Chinchata is good too.
What is that?
In Cuba.
Marquita.
So
It's
chinchata is in
it's
Cuba.
good.
It's their rum, and it's basically just soda water, lime, and honey, but it's delicious.
Mm.
Okay.
It sounds delicious.
Very good.
All right.
Got it. And so, ready to continue our conversation. In about 2 minutes, though, we're going to hit our audience with some of these questions to see what like their travel experiences are. And if you're watching, definitely feel free to drop any questions, comments, anything you have for any of us so we can see those, because we know as travelers, like, I'm going to say this, sometimes social media makes travel look easy. It makes travel look like all you got to do is book a flight and go. And I'm sure that all of us have kind of experienced some traveling mistakes by thinking you can just book and go.
I'm just saying, if you follow La India, then you know travel is not easy. I'm just saying, because girl been going through it this year.
Boy, what is one of the biggest
And I be sharing,
You do. I love it, baby. Every single detail. What's one of the biggest travel mistakes you feel like you've ever made that just impacted, whether it was forgetting to get a visa, not whatever it was?
Ask her what happened on her trip this year when she got to that airport.
Landia?
No, I'm talking about Marquita.
No, Marquita. I have one, but let's hear Marquita. I have one though.
My goodness. It was for my birthday, and so I was going to the Grand Cayman in January for my birthday. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get there super early so I can go to the lounge, have a little drink by myself, get my life together. Get there. I carried on so that I didn't have to wait. Went to the lounge. It's like, okay, let me board. Got upgraded to first class. I was like, yes, honey, this is going to be amazing. Gave her my passport, and she was like, it's expired. I know you fucking lying. I brought the wrong passport. I brought my expired passport. Like,
Damn.
I do that. I brought the wrong one.
Oh my god.
Damn. So what happened?
I screamed and called my husband, and he got my twin boys in the car at 5 o'clock in the morning and brought my right passport. And I took the next flight out. He saved the trip.
Real.
Did you get to fly first class?
I was just about to ask that.
I know I didn't get upgraded on the second round. Nope.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I was like, how
Somebody else have one?
How did I make that mistake? And the crazy thing is that the expired passport expired in like 2017. I haven't touched that passport in years.
Crazy.
So what made me grab it? I have no clue.
actually like local. It's not even, it's a activity, but I live in Utah now, but I'm new to Utah. I'm from Philly. I never even been to Utah until we moved here, but mine was local and it actually happened last week. I didn't do enough research and we wanted to go to a hot spring. We wanted to bring my little sister to one of the hot springs here. And if you don't know, Utahns are known for hiking. That's a thing that they do here. There's a lot of places to hike, a lot of scenery to see. And I kept looking up this place called Fifth Water Hot Spring, and everybody was like, oh, like you definitely have to visit. I seen influencers talk about it. One of the influencers, she had a recent post saying that it was perfect weather for it. I live in Salt Lake City. It snowed a little bit a couple weeks ago, but it hasn't been snowing, so there was no snow on the ground. So I had my 10-year-old sister visiting. I had her put on her like just stuff that she could take off quickly when we get to the hot spring and stuff that she can put back on. She was warm, kinda, but I was like, hey, you can take it off real quick, put it back on. We wore like just very simple clothing so that way we could like get undressed and dress quickly. We get there and the trailhead, there was a blockage. So we had to walk up to the trailhead. That ended up being a mile. And I didn't do proper research, and I always do proper research, but I didn't this time because I was so overwhelmed with like trying to get things for her to do in general. And the Utah website was just like, yeah, you just go to this trailhead, just walk the trail, and then you'll get there. It was horrendous. It was all ice and snow, and I would never have put a 10-year-old through that in my life. Like, she has a memory for the rest of her life. We had to hike up 1 mile, like no, over a kilometer, so that's more than a mile, right? Or something like that. We had to hike over a kilometer to the trailhead. And then once we got to the trailhead, I'm like, oh, bet, like the hot spring about to be right there. No, it was a sign that said 2 miles to the hot spring. And we already hiked over a kilometer. So then we had to walk 2 miles up this snowy, icy mountain. And she was slipping and sliding. We didn't have the proper, when we were walking up, there were a group of women that were walking down and they looked at us and they said, you don't have gloves? I said, no, I don't got no gloves. Like, no, we good. And she was like, no, please take the gloves. So she takes off her gloves and she gives them to me and my sister. Then she takes off her headband and she put it on my sister because she was like, no, like, you guys got to be warm. It's icy. And I'm like, she was like, it's going to take you about 2 hours. Me and my husband were like, it's going to take us like 45 minutes. Like, we don't know what they're talking about. It took us like 3 hours to get up there because my sister is 10. She's slipping and sliding. I'm holding her up. Then by the time we got there, we get in the hot spring. The sun's going down. Now it's pitch black. Now I'm like, do we have to call the rescue team? Like, how are we going to get back down this mountain that's icy and it's pitch black? We don't have headlights. We don't have nothing. We look like we were not from there. You could tell we weren't from there. And it was the worst. Like, it was a great experience because it was pretty, but do y'all research. Never slack on research. Like, look up multiple people. Like, I cried at the end of the night because I just would never have put a kid through that, like, ever. And then I went back on the website and like searched a little bit more when we got home. And I was like, it said challenging route, 3 to 4 miles. And I was just like, I did not see this. Like, my hands were so frozen that they were swollen and I couldn't feel them for about 15 minutes when we got in the car. And it was just like, those situations can become dangerous. So like, please. I'm so
glad y'all okay. It sounds like your sister was a trooper.
Did you tell
she was.
Sister, don't tell anybody about this. Like,
I told her, don't tell mom. I said, Mom, we're going to ask you. And my mom asked me, she said, did you put my daughter's life in danger? I said, no.
Absolutely not.
It's okay. But please do your research because that was like, she was such a trooper. Like, she did it and she really went through. My husband carried her back on his back coming back. So that's how we were able to get to the car so fast. But like, she was such a trooper and like, I will always be proud of her. But please do your research. Do not listen. Like, a lot of the Utah influencers acted like it was so easy because they're used to that. I seen babies going up there. Like, that's what they're accustomed to. But like, we're not accustomed to that. So definitely, like, Yeah, if my mom, I hope my mom not watching this. No, don't say she watching this, because like Lord Jesus,
We
Lord
blocked
Jesus,
her. She can't see
She
it. We
blocked.
blocked her.
Lord
She
Jesus.
blocked. Yeah, she blocked.
But definitely do your research. That's what I say. Long story short, do your research all the time. Check multiple sources. Check where those people are from, because they might be saying something's easy, but that's because they're from there. They're accustomed to it, and you want to be prepared at all times, because some situations can become dangerous, and that could have been one.
For sure. And I think about that all the time. Like when I know I've been in some destinations that are not easy for newbie travelers, or people that don't have a lot of extensive travel experience, and I see travel influencers posting like, "Oh yeah, you just book your flight, you just go, you do this." No, tell them the truth about getting there. Like, one of the most difficult places I've ever traveled to is Bali. Bali, that if you have never taken a long haul flight, that flight situation is not for the weak, because there are very few places to where you have a nonstop flight. And even if they did, how many people can sit for that long on a flight if the furthest you've been is to Jamaica? And I think that that's like part of our responsibility as responsible travelers, is just to tell people the truth. Like, I get it. Your pictures may became my dope, but tell them that, you had to hike 4 hours and all these different things in order to make that happen. And I think sometimes that's what we miss in sharing our travel experiences is the authenticity behind it. And like, even with going to Africa, I love traveling to Africa. I'm going to Cape Town soon. I've enjoyed Zanzibar, Johannesburg, but it's not always easy. People will book a flight to Africa, book a hotel, and not know that they need visas to travel to a lot of different places.
And it's not cheap. Africa is not cheap. People think Africa is cheap travel. Yes, some things are cheap, but traveling in Africa is not always cheap. It can be expensive.
And
super
especially between countries.
For sure.
Yep.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm saying it's my first trip, I jumped out there. I've told this story before. My first trip was to Sydney, Australia, 28 hours of travel time, right? And I was so thankful for my friends, because they taught me that I went to go visit friends that lived there, and they taught me a lot of things. All I thought is I needed a passport. I didn't realize about a visa, never thought about currency exchange, never thought about international transaction fees, using a debit card instead of a credit card. I didn't think about reporting foreign travel to my employer. And it's really important for us. I did a post recently on things I wish somebody would have told me prior to me going on, prior to me going on a trip, because there's so many things. We tell you all about, like, this is where we went, it was so much fun, but a lot of people don't tend to talk about what it takes to get to where you're going.
For sure. One I always think about when I see people posting, they're like, "Oh, I want to go," is it Tolatongo? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, outside of Mexico City. It's the beautiful falls you see. Everybody takes the beautiful pictures. It's the hot springs. It's beautiful. People don't tell you that it's a long ride from Mexico City. The Wi-Fi when you get there is limited. It's expensive to travel there. There's nowhere to stay if you decide to stay out there. And so really it needs to be a round trip. When you're talking about maybe 4 to 6 hours of transportation to and from there. And I'm like, we have to talk about these things, because you really have somebody thinking, "Oh, I'm going to Mexico City, up the street is, these beautiful hot springs and all that." And we just have to be more cognizant and more responsible. So, audience question real quick. This is for
Audience
the audience.
question. Let's
Feel
go.
free to drop your answers in the box below. We have 2 of them. Very first question, and this is one of my favorites. If you know it, I know that Marquita might know it. But in the movie Girls Trip, the crew traveled to New Orleans and spent some time on Bourbon Street. What was one attraction shown in the movie that doesn't exist? On Bourbon Street, there was an attraction. So, audience members, do you know this one? Audience members, do you know this one? We'll give you a few seconds, and if not, I'll just tell the answer. But there's a prize.
Okay, we got somebody who knew.
Okay, Michaela, see?
That's the one I was thinking. Okay, I thought I was wrong.
I don't know how to say it. Michaela L'Oreal?
Michaela.
Is that it? Oh, Michaela.
I don't see the answer popping up on mine. And what's the
I see it.
Posted the question.
Zip line.
Yeah,
the zip line.
Yeah.
So,
that's what
okay, Michaela.
Frustrating things to me was after Girls Trip, the Essence Festival right afterwards, and then hearing so many people being like, "Where's the zip line? Where's the zip line?" That has never existed on Bourbon Street. It doesn't exist. So Michaela, go ahead and send me your address to my DM, the House of Tania, and I have a prize that'll be coming to you just in time for the holidays.
Ooh.
And we have one more. This is another one. During the era of segregation, what publication, often referred to as the Bible of Black Travel, provided African American travelers with a guide to safe and welcoming establishments across the United States?
I made a video about this. So if you follow me last year, I made a video about this.
Make sure you share that video in your story so don't get
Ooh.
Okay, Twilight Candle Company, congratulations.
Okay,
Hey.
Twyla,
Okay.
so that is the Green Book. And so does it cut off in an hour, Jennifer? Is it going to cut us off?
I think it'll cut us off at 9:04. I think.
Okay. So let's end this with a question that I think that we're all going to enjoy answering. What's a travel experience that you're looking forward to in 2024? Anybody can go first. A travel experience you have planned for 2024.
I got it.
Well,
you got it?
No, go ahead.
I
was going to say I'm going with my husband. I'm revisiting Vietnam. That was one of the countries I solo traveled, but we're going to Hanoi this time. I was in Ho Chi Minh and Canton before. So it's first time being in Vietnam for him, and I'm super excited to show him. And then we're going to go to Thailand. I've never been to Thailand.
Oh, wow.
So nice.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited and to explore that. So we're going to be leaving in like 2 weeks. We just booked it the other day. So
make sure that you're following India. She posts amazing content, so you can definitely check out the details for those trips. Dexter?
India, I'm jealous of you because Thailand, you probably been to hella countries, but Thailand about to knock all them countries down just one
Really?
shot. Thailand
I have high expectations.
Three.
I have high expectations.
Your money goes so far in Thailand. And
it goes fast too, bro, because you think it goes far, but it goes fast.
But you also be living fast, probably, Destin. That's why the money goes fast, because you be out there blowing.
Hey.
Just saying.
Definitely. But so I turned 27 this year. I want to celebrate the end of like my school year and also wrapping up my doctoral program. I want to go to Nairobi in Zanzibar.
Nice.
So I am getting a group of friends together. See, I'm so excited. I'm getting a group of friends together. I'm planning this out. The first time I think I led I guess it's a big group of people that I might lead to this place. So I'm excited about that. I'm not excited about the headache that comes with the planning portion of it, but I do think it'd be dope to bring my friends to a whole different continent, the continent of Africa, and like vibe out there together. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I heard y'all mentioned it already, so I'm gonna tap in and get some input.
That'll be amazing. Make sure you're following Destin. His content is not just good for travel, but he's also in a doctoral program and he's done therapy, so that's great as well. Marquita?
I'm going to Trinidad Carnival this year.
Oh, wow.
That's gonna be
nice.
Wow.
I'm gonna be there. We gotta link.
Yes, you guys gotta connect since you'll both be there at the same time.
Yes. I'll be there for a whole month. I'll be there. So let's go.
How about you, Jennifer?
I have nothing planned for 2024. It's actually pretty scary for me because life is happening. So I'm not able to plan any travel for the first couple months of the year. So we shall see where I end up.
Well, I'll share before Instagram cuts us off. I'm actually have decided to live as a digital nomad next year because I work fully remote as a therapist. And so I just turned in my notice to my apartment complex on Monday that I will not be re-signing my lease. And I'm going to travel for a few months and just see where I land.
Wow.
That's so exciting. It might be,
that's fun as hell.
I don't know. It's exciting now, but I don't know. So we're going to figure it out. But
that's big.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you guys for coming back. This is our first year doing Tips and Trips, and it has been something more magical than we could have ever expected. And so we thank you all for participating. If you want a gift tonight, definitely slide in my DMs because if I don't have your address, hey, mail you nothing. But happy holidays to all of you, and make sure that you're following LaIndia, Destin, and Marquita, Jennifer, and myself, because one thing about us, we all share the real things about travel, and we don't really sugarcoat a lot of things. And so if nothing else, you get to see what travel really looks like when you're out here living this life for real. So that's our show for tonight. Good night,
Have fun, guys.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
it's
Happy
good.
holidays.
All right,
Good
y'all.
night,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right, y'all.
All right, bye, Marquita.